We had a really bullish close for Bitcoin a couple of days ago where it closed above the previous all-time high for the first time ever on a weekly, a monthly and a quarterly basis. But now it looks like these gains are getting washed out again. And the question is, are we in trouble? Is this a sign that we want to go down further and further and further? We cannot just seem to break that 70k level, really. So let's take a look at that. And also, what would it mean for altcoins? Because they are going down together with Bitcoin and even a little bit harder. So if Bitcoin can't hold this level, how far can the good altcoins go down? And what should we do in that case? Well, let's go over that. Welcome to the Fomo Factory. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, check out the Patreon for private sales. There's a link down below. And let's get right into it. Bitcoin, at this moment of recording, $66,800. And we managed to get below this white line, which is the all-time high, basically. We were above it. Like I said, if you look at it on a monthly basis, we closed above it. Even if you look at a 3-month basis, so the quarter, we closed above it as well. And that's a really strong sign. But this week, we already feel like, never mind. We go below it again. And as you can see, it is interesting how this is playing out right now. Because every time we get like above that 70k, we just cannot seem to really break above right there. Now, the thing is though, we have right now at least some higher highs, right? But some higher lows, sorry. But we also have some lower highs. So if this is how Bitcoin is going to move, then it's very interesting. But I would rather say it's going to be something like this, by the way. So it can take quite a while, and it could be that Bitcoin is just gonna give us some boring times instead of some spectacular times, whether it's to the up or the downside. Now, let's look at both scenarios, and let's see that if we go down, how far can we go down? If we go up, how far can we go up? And if we go sideways, how far, how long can we go sideways, actually? So let's start with the downside for Bitcoin first, for the people that are interested in that. Now, what I notice is that $60,000 level, we wicked there before. So that's a level to keep your eyes on. Also, if we go back, there is some good support over here. There's some big resistance over there. So 60k is a big level. And that's also where the 0.382 on the Fibonacci retracement comes in. So if we really see a good dip, then 60k should be actually very doable. Is 60k the bottom though? I hear a lot of people say like, yeah, you know what, if we go down, 60k is kind of it. And it could definitely be that this should be a nice retest like we had this week over here and then go up again. However, it's also very possible to get back down to the golden zone. The golden zone on the Fibonacci tool is between the 0.618 and the 0.5. That comes in at $52,000 and $56,000. It makes sense. We had some struggling over here as well. And if we go back on the chart, you could see that this gave us a lot of resistance over here as well. And even these wicks here were big support. So $60,000 or $52,000 is a big level. If we look at around 56, there is not much going on right there. I would rather look at 55, give or take. Also, if we go back right here, you see some big support over here. You see some resistance and you see some support over here. That's my worst case scenario. Well, it's not my worst case scenario. It's the scenario that I see as realistic, but not much further down than that. The worst case scenario, well, that's also absolutely fucking zero, of course, like depending on what happens. But the worst case scenario, realistically for me, is saying, hey, anywhere between 48 and 42, right? That's the golden zone over the longer time frame. That's the channel where we really had some big problems like breaking it. We had major resistance and support and everything going on over here in the last bull market, and we had multiple weeks of struggles before we finally broke it. And back then when we broke out, I said like, okay, it wouldn't be surprising if we get a retest. We did not get that retest. Doesn't mean we won't ever get that retest, okay? We can still get that retest from this point, go back down here or maybe even here and then go up. A lot of people, I know, a lot of people would say like, dude, that's like so far down. It's 27 slash 37%, give or take. I mean, name one bull market where we haven't seen those corrections multiple times. Like, it's definitely not impossible. It's definitely not impossible. It would be exceptional if we don't retest. However, the market is showing some relative strength to what it used to do. So therefore, I see it now as more unlikely, as there is a lot of money inflow from the ETFs. The halving is yet about to come up. There is there's so much bullish momentum in the market right now that I don't think we will see these levels. However, if we do see them, I will be here and be like, okay, guessed it wrong, but don't surprise me as well. So keep your eyes on that. But first, let's see, like, hey, can we go down to 60K? Like, let's not talk about like these major corrections if we are just sitting slightly below 70K. I mean, for now, it is definitely not that bad. Altcoins, also same. I mean, Bitcoin is down 6.27% on the week, which is also the day because it's Monday. If we look at altcoins, it's down 8.2%, right? So, yeah, of course, altcoins go down with Bitcoin slightly harder, but nothing too crazy yet. Now, when do we need to worry? For altcoins, I mean, also altcoins, they are not up as much as Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is sitting at the all-time high. If you look at the altcoin market, it's still 50% off the all-time high, give or take. So they still have a long way to go. But if we look at altcoins, they are now sitting at that golden zone, right? What we talked about, Bitcoin going back to that golden zone, oh, seems terrible, etc. Altcoins are still there, actually, right? And it's now sitting more at the 0.618. Hey, can we go to the 0.5? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's not even that far from here. That's another 12%. So like that's almost twice as much as what we have seen today. So if your portfolio is now down like 10% maybe, realize that it could go down 20%. And that's like not a like bear scenario. That's like a pretty realistic view, right? Like that's not that much. What for altcoins I expect to happen, expect what seems logical to me is this area right here. We had so much shit going on over in the last bull market. We had major resistance and support over here. And when we broke out, we had resistance at this point. This was basically the only point in the altcoin market's run where we had some decent resistance. Like we have it right now as well. We seem to kind of get the same kind of resistance here as over here. For the rest, it was basically only up, right? So if you have that resistance, test it as support, right? You go up, you have resistance, you break out, you test it as support, and then you go up. That's usually a normal, healthy chart. For the people that be like, okay, you go up, some resistance, fucking market, go up. Yeah, okay, nice, go up even more. It's not up only, right? That's not how it works. We should have some resistance right there. Now, for altcoins, this could be painful, right? And don't be like, if this is your first bull market, know this. 30, 40, 50% corrections for altcoins in a bull market are more than normal, okay? This could happen many, many times in a bull market. So this would be a correction from this point of 27%. Like that's 27% on the, overall altcoin market. But this is the top 125, excluding the top 10. But if you have coins outside of the top 125, they move more overall because they have less liquidity, lower market cap. So if the market goes up, your portfolio goes up harder. If this goes down, your portfolio goes down harder. So if this is 27% move, yeah, your altcoins could bleed 40, 50%, something like that. But like I said, if you look at, let's start with this bull market right here, right? We had this bull market, and I'm not going to go over every single correction, but even this little spike right here was a correction of 40%, right? This correction right here was a correction of 40%. We had a correction right here, which was 63%. We had another one right here, which was more than 50%. We had another one, which was 65%. And we have so many of these, right? But it was in the middle of a parabolic bull market, right? And you'll see that in every single bull market that you get. And also these returns are a little diminishing, definitely, because there's more money in the market right now. So it takes more to go up, but it also takes more to go down. But in the last bull market, we also seen occasional 30% correction here. We had a correction here of 29%. We had a correction here, which was around 36, 7%. You see it very often, right? The one and only correction that we had so far was a correction of 24%, right? So that's one small correction versus multiple relative bigger corrections. So I'm not here trying to say like, hey, yo, we are going to go down. But I am sitting here like, hey, the chance that we get a good correction is extremely high. Like, it would be really weird and unhealthy if we don't get it. And you should prepare for that. And what I'm trying to do is not to think about that psychological barrier, right? Like, we were sitting at 70K, for example, and above. Now we're back in the 60s. So for a lot of people, it sounds like, oh, we're so far down. Well, in reality, Bitcoin is down like 6%, right? That's nothing, right? And therefore, I don't want to waste all my money on every single dip that I see. If you buy every single 10% correction, yeah, then do you still have money when a normal 30-40% correction is coming up? If you do, then go ahead, because dollar costing is the best thing that you can do, especially if you don't have exposure to the market yet. But if you already have exposure and you feel like, yeah, I just want to top up my bags a little bit, don't go too crazy on every little dip. And realize that even if Bitcoin goes to, let's say, $44,000, it's bullish. All right. And why is that bullish? Well, you see the uptrend, right? We have a low, we have a higher low, a higher low, a higher low. Like, even if we get there, it would be a higher low. So it would still technically be an uptrend, right? If we now go, well, let's say below 40K, below 38, then I would be like, okay, fuck. Something is not going so well right here, right? But anything above 40, let's say 44K, anything above 44K, I'll be like, okay, it's a good correction, it's a good dip, it's a crash, but it's an uptrend. It's still an uptrend. It's still a big bull market. And that's the golden buying opportunity that we will get. But I doubt that we will get that low. Now, if we do take a look at the altcoin market once again, when is the time to say like, okay, we should be really careful right now? Well, also the altcoin market is in a clear uptrend, right? We have a low, a higher low, a higher low, a higher low. So this is the last like real higher low. So if we go below $175 billion on the total altcoin market cap, I will be like, okay, something is not going so well. And that's 45% down from here. That's your portfolio washed out for more than 60% probably, right? So that's going to suck. But, anywhere around this level, like I said, would make a lot of sense, would be a beautiful retest, in fact. It's not like picture perfect, but here as well, you could see that 0.382, same as this level right here in the last bull market, we went above it, we retested it, we went quite below it, but still it was a big area where we flirted with that level and then we went up. In this bull market, we just have the resistance and we break through it and that's it. I don't know. I don't know. It could be, but it's usually not how it works. If you look at some specific altcoins, right? Like I said, I'm not buying like anything right now yet, unless I have no exposure to a project that I feel like, okay, this is something I really wanted to get some exposure to, and now it's a good time to really buy some. But for example, Altura, right? It is already down with 45%, right? It is already down 45%, right? That's one way of having some perspective. On the other hand, you could also, of course, say like, yeah, but it's still up 8x, right? So do you buy the discount or do you still buy relative close to the top? It kind of depends on how you look at it. But it ran too hard. That's what these altcoins, some of them, they ran way too hard, right? And of course, a huge correction is normal then. I mean, Altura went up almost 15x. 15x. And therefore, don't buy. It's rather better to buy now than if you buy something like that, right? Because if you buy into a 15x, you should be prepared to lose a lot of money, right? That's like how greed works. But you cannot expect an altcoin to do a 15x and not have a correction. Sometimes it doesn't, but usually it has, right? But even with Altura, I'd be like, okay, you know what? We have a big series of higher highs and higher lows, right? We have a low, we have a low, we have a low, 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 we have a high, 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 high. So it's still looking good. And if Altura manages to keep it above, the latest low, basically, then it's actually looking good. If it goes down another 26%, I'll be like, oh, okay. Because then the chart is looking something like this, right? Then it's not an uptrend anymore. Then it's more of a distribution phase where you could say like, okay, it's going to do this and then down. Not all the way down maybe, but then the bullish trend is at least very much over. But yeah, now I look at it, Altura is not looking that bad. And if you take it like this, you could even say like, hey, Altura, it is maybe a very decent buying opportunity right now, right? Same for AVAX. AVAX is also a chart that I feel like, yeah, this has a lot of room to fall down still because it went up so hard, right? If you look at, sorry, my camera is always in the way. If you look at AVAX, if this is the trend right now, right? I don't know exactly if this should be... yeah, this is definitely a trend, right? If this is the trend for AVAX, I'll be like, okay, AVAX, even if it happens today, it could go down another 15%. And it would still look bullish, right? If it goes below this point right here, and especially below, let's say, $35, then I'm starting to worry, right? Because this also happens in this red box. And what's this red box? This is a red box where we had a lot of stuff going on from the previous market as well. We had major resistance over here. And the funny thing is that it looks kind of the same, right? We, if you compare some things, we were sitting at the bottom here. Sorry, my head is in the way. We were sitting at the bottom right here. We were sitting at the bottom right here. Okay. We had a major uptrend and we cooled off. We had a major uptrend and we cooled off. We had a second leg, which took us in this red area, which I've drawn completely wrong because it's more like this. So, but we had our second leg, right? And after that second leg, it started to cool off. We had a second leg, and after that second leg, it started to cool off. We had another great leg up. We had another great leg up. And then it completely collapsed, right? And with completely collapsing, I mean completely collapsing, right? AVAX here was also sitting at $60, and it went all the way down to $9. That's crazy, because here we also are sitting at $60. So I'm not saying it will go to 9, but I am saying it is possible, right? It's doing the exact same thing as in this market right here, and also at the same valuation. So therefore, it's so easy to compare. I don't think that that's going to happen. In all honesty, but it is something to keep your eyes on. What's the big difference? Well, the big difference is that the timing in the market is completely different, because this was in February, April, May 2021, and this is now happening in February, April, May, maybe 2020. Right, this was the first top of the bull market for Bitcoin. If you look at that period right here, it was the first leg up, basically, right? And Bitcoin, it topped out and it went down 50%. So that's pretty decent. If you look at altcoins, some altcoins, even the better altcoins like AVAX went down with that 84%. Like, that was terrible for altcoins. But then we got our second leg and we made a new high. So that could, or that happened to AVAX as well. So it went up way harder than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin did a 2x and AVAX did another 16x from that point. This was an alt season right here. Is it possible that everything is fucked up? Is it possible that everything is fucked up? That we are just basically repeating this right now? I don't think so, but it raises the question, right? So could it be that we are just making some kind of a double top, right? Or that we are doing at the last bull market, but at slightly higher valuations, right? We had a first top right here at 65k. We went down extremely hard. We had a second top at 69, and then the bear market came. Could it be that the first top is 74k? We went all the way down to whatever, and then make our second top at 80k, and then the bear market. Should I answer that question? No, probably not. This is probably not going to happen, right? We still have the halving coming. We now have the ETFs. It's all completely different. We are a year off, basically, so that also doesn't make sense. But if you look at AVAX, for example, it's following the same kind of pattern, right? And whatever the narrative is, you know, be prepared for the fact that if it exactly copies what it did right here, the next thing that if it copies is the leg down, right? So hey, it could happen. But yeah, it could also happen that with AVAX in this very specific case, it goes down to the 618, for example, and that makes sense combined with this red box that I've drawn, by the way, where we had this support right here, a lot of shit going on right here, big resistance over here, major support over here as well, and that we retest that area. It could be the case. It's now sitting at $48. It looks like a beautiful price, especially if you realize that it came from 64. So if you're not sure, just DCA. But we can see some way lower prices, of course. Now, for the altcoin market, it would not surprise me, right? Because the altcoin market overall, it did the same as Bitcoin, but some specific altcoins, like I said, they ran way too hard. If you look at Superverse, for example, right? Superverse went all the way from 7 cents to 160. Like it did more than a 20x right there. It did a 23x. 23x. How much is it down right now from the top? It's now down 24%. Where the fuck is the rest? Right? Where's the rest of that dip? Like I can't imagine that this is it. Right? I cannot. It could go down way harder. And I'm saving my money for that. And maybe the market now, you know, turns around and goes back up. And you'll be like, you missed your buying opportunity. I don't care. I already have my coins in the market, right? But the money that I have in the market, I want to get some golden buying opportunities on that. And if we don't get them, we don't get them. But yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting. And if you want to look at it like, well, the glass is half full, then you could also be like, okay, you know, we have an uptrend, basically, right? Like Ronin, for example, it's doing the beautifulest thing that it could do. It goes up, it has some resistance right here, goes down, goes up, retest, again, makes this a new channel, resistance, support. And now, again, it had a little resistance over here at this level where we are right now. Broke above it, went all the way to 450, and now go down and test it as support again. Like, it's a decent and still very bullish pattern. Don't get me wrong. But I do like to discuss the things like, hey, you know, if we do see a good correction like we always do, then it could get pretty nasty. It could get pretty nasty, right? And yeah, narrative wise, it kind of makes sense. Bitcoin was sitting at an all-time high. People are taking profits, right? If you look at the USDT dominance, for example, also, I have to put it on the right chart right here. Here. We can take it back even further, I think. Yeah, look, I mean, USDT dominance, right? How much money is sitting in USDT? Every time it goes up, people are taking profits in USDT. If it goes down, people are deploying USDT to the market, right? And here in this bear market, people were putting all their money in USDT. And now they have been deploying really hard. And exactly where we met this trend line, it goes up again. Like, what the hell, right? You can't make this up. And every time we got to this trend line, what happened? Well, here it went up 400%. Here it went up 185%. Here it went up like, you don't even want to know, man. Here it went up 300%, right? Now we're up 7. Get it? Like, hey, it's like not uncommon if we Go at least back to this part right here, give or take. Yeah, this would be dramatic for the altcoin market. Already, if we get this, like that would be disastrous. And a lot of people, they would panic sell, get the fuck out of the market. And it's totally disastrous. So some things tell me like, okay, it's not looking that bullish at the moment. On the other hand, I mean, man, look at Bitcoin, right? We are quite close to the halving. What happened every time we got to the halving, right? Here we were quite close to the halving as well. And before the halving came, we got a big correction. I know, COVID, whatever, we got it. We still got it, right? If we look at the bull market before that, and we look at the halving, there you go. It's not necessarily before the halving, but always around the halving, right? Here, Bitcoin got a correction of 30%, right? If we look at this halving right here in 2012, we got a correction of 40%, right? It's no wonder that they call it the halving, because Bitcoin always halves in price, right? That's kind of the joke because about the halving. Now, what have we seen so far from the exact wick top to where we are right now? 5.5%. It's not enough. It is just simply not enough. It doesn't make sense if it stops here. So I don't want to be the bear. It's definitely not what I am. I would love if the market crashes like that, because I don't know, man. We're gonna get the market is going to rip at some point, and I think end of the year, especially, it's going up like crazy. And therefore, I feel like, man, if it goes down, beautiful. We get our last buying opportunity that we finally get, right? For the people that still had some cash on the sideline, or the newer people in crypto, or the people that just are DCAing, they all get a great opportunity. And most of them won't take it. Most of them will get scared and be like, yeah, bull market is over, double top, whatever, top is in, like the shit that we always get, like that scares people off, right? Here as well, we same kind of percentage gains, right? In 2019, we went up 340% on Bitcoin. How much did we go up right now? 340, right? We had the same run. And then it went down and people were like, oh, fuck, it's all over. And we went down hard, right? But even without COVID, we went down hard. And people thought it was all over and they got out. And only then we got the real bull market. Right? Don't let a good correction scare you off. Most people will get scared. There will be FUD all around you. At the end of the day, this is nothing else than just resetting the fear and greed index, basically, right? The greed was way too high. People got greedy. We were sitting at all-time highs. Everything is euphoric. The stupidest meme coins were raising money. Fuck that. Let's reset. Let's reset the whole sentiment and then go up from there. And it's actually, it's not that bad. Like, I mean, if you look at the stochastic RSI on the monthly, so on a bigger time frame, if you look at it like this, we had a bull market here. Once we were overbought, that was in June 2012, right? From the moment the market was really over, the bear market came, was December 2013, was 1.5 years, right? Here, we were overbought in November 2015, but the bear market came December 2017, was 2 years. Here we were overbought in July 2019 and we went down end of 2021. It was 2.5 years. Now we were overbought from June 2023. We're not even a year, right? Compared to the, on average, 2 years that it takes for us to really go into a bear market. Don't stick to the thesis like this time is different. It never worked out for anybody so far. So don't try to be smart and be like, yeah, but this time it is. And I understand it. No, you don't. It's hard. It's an unpredictable market. Go with the data that we have. And the data that we have is saying, hey, top is always 4 years, bottom is always 4 years. That's how the 4-year cycle moves. We always go parabolic after the halving. It's not a guarantee that we'll do that right now, but 3 out of 3, Like, come on. Like, how are the odds not like how are the odds against you, right? Um, and whatever happens in the meantime, it's noise, man. Don't let the noise scare you off in this market right here. The S&P is still doing fine, so that's very important, of course. Altcoins were like, if you look at Ethereum on its Bitcoin pair, for example, like Ethereum is the biggest altcoin out there, and that has been bleeding against Bitcoin since like forever, basically, right? I expect this to go down a little bit more and then bounce and then give us that alt season, which I expect in Q3, Q4, give or take. And if we get a good, like I said, 40% correction in the meantime, let it be. Let sing a Beatles song, let it be, and it will be okay. It will be okay. Overall, altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, you know, or the Bitcoin dominance. Sorry, wrong chart. This is the Bitcoin dominance without the stables, basically. It's going down. So altcoins are still winning against Bitcoin, but it could definitely be that this has a good bounce. Altcoins get very much wrecked, especially if Bitcoin goes down in this move as well, and then we continue our way down. So moral of the story, if there is a huge correction, see it as an opportunity, which will probably be the last one that you will get. And otherwise you have to wait another 4 years to get a cycle, which probably won't be as big as this one. So I'm gonna wrap it up right here. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.